Hi, how you doing? My name is Rohit and I will be breaking down the very first match of the 2024 IPL season, which had the defending champions Chennai Super Kings taking on the Royal Challengers Bangalore in the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium, or as it's often referred to as Chepak. First of all, the end result of the match was Chennai beating the Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets. And first, let's talk about what went on in the first innings for RCB. So they start off strong, actually. At the end of 4 overs, they are 40 without loss, and in the power play, that's really good to have a 10-run and over power play. But after that, within the span of 7 balls, the wheels kind of fall off, starting with Mustafizur Rahman taking 2 wickets in his over, and then Deepak Chahar comes in the 6th over and takes another one. So within that 7-ball span, you go from 41 without loss to 42 for 3. You've lost 3 wickets for just 1 run. And that sort of batting collapse really limits what you can do in terms of building an innings, scoring big runs, and just putting a big total on the board to defend. Now, after that big batting collapse that saw Faf du Plessis, Rajat Patidar, and Glenn Maxwell all go relatively cheaply, Virat Kohli and Cameron Green did stitch together a pretty good partnership that did level the ship for a bit, level the playing field. But Mustafizur Rahman comes back, takes both Kohli and Green in the same over, and again reduces RCB to a more of a struggle situation. But from there, you have Anuj Rawat and Dinesh Karthik come in, and they finish the innings on their own. Not another wicket fell until the last ball of the innings. And so they batted together for roughly 7 overs and scored 95 runs. So at the time, when both Rawat and Dinesh Karthik came to the crease, RCB were at 78 for 5, and they were struggling. Another wicket could lead to a more catastrophic collapse that could have seen RCB reduced for a total less than 100. But Anuj Rawat and Dinesh Karthik kept their cool. They steadied the ship, and they kept playing simple cricket. And they had some big scores here and there, some big overs, including the 18th where they took Tushar Deshpande for over 20 runs. And next thing you know, once 170 was sort of pipe dream, but now 170 was well within reach. They finished with 173, which is very solid for Chepak, where in 2023, the average first inning score was 170. So 173, roughly around par. That's very defendable. That's a solid total. But the main difference here is that how RCB lost multiple wickets in heaps, especially in the power play where they lost 3 in the span of 7 balls, that never happened to CSK. With CSK, they had a consistent 10-run per over power play that had them score over 60 runs, and they only lost 1 wicket, which was their freshly minted captain, Ruturaj Gaikwad, who was dismissed for a simple 15 runs off of 15 balls. But the main story here is Rachin Ravindra's 37 from 15 deliveries that really set the tone in the power play and really helped CSK put together a solid foundation for the chase. Because in terms of chasing a total, you have to be around the required run rate. You don't really want to get out of hand, or else that's going to put more pressure on you, put more pressure on your teammates. Say, hey, we got to get this going. Because of Rachin Ravindra's swift play at the start of the innings, CSK was able to just cruise through the match. And even when they lost wickets at relatively regular intervals, they never allowed that to turn into a complete batting collapse or to lose wickets in heaps like RCB did. That was the main difference between the two teams and between the two ways that they scored. And then after the 4th wicket fell, after that, you have Ravindra Jadeja and Shivam Dube come to the crease, and they played mature knocks, including Shivam Dube, who top scored with 38. And those two were also the 2 players who were at the crease for the end of the 2023 season where CSK lifted the title. And those 2 steered CSK home once again in a relatively clinical chase. you never looked at that game and thought, okay, maybe CSK may be in trouble here, CSK may be in trouble there. No. CSK felt like they were in total control from the very beginning. And that should be a positive sign if you were a CSK fan. What should also be a positive sign if you're a CSK fan is not only Rachan Ravindra's play, but the way he's able to be aware of the situation. Ruturaj Gaikwad was struggling very early on, and that was pretty evident. He wasn't middling the ball like he normally does. He wasn't hitting the ball as cleanly as most fans are accustomed to him seeing. But Rachan Ravindra comes in, he's able to cleanly hit the ball, cleanly take the role of being an aggressor, and overall take some of that pressure off of Gaikwad, who can still play his own positive brand of cricket. Maybe we didn't see it today, but we will see it later on in the tournament. What should also be a positive sign is Shivam Dubé's willingness to respond to the quick single calls and turn those quick ones into twos if those opportunities are available to him. That is huge, especially in the context of a run chase where you can't always rely on boundaries. Sometimes you have to run between the wickets, and Dubé did that well with Jadeja, and that is huge in terms of just staying at the required run rate, not letting it get out of control. You take too many dot balls, sometimes that stuff happens. Sometimes that'll get to your head. You'll try to take a big shot, and that's how you lose wickets, and that's how you put your team in a deeper hole. So that was good maturity from Shivam Dubé to really settle down and not worry about the big shots, just taking what the bowlers gave him. And whenever they try to hit him with those short pitch deliveries, Dubé kept his cool and either try to play them off, or as the second to last ball showed, he can just pull it for 6. And so that sort of maturity and development should also be a positive sign for CSK fans, because that middle order maturity is integral to being able to have a consistent scoring team. Now, if you're an RCB fan, one positive that can be taken away from this is, compared to last season's, this innings from Anuj Rawat and Dinesh Karthik could be positive signs that their middle order and lower middle order can take up and fulfill some of the stuff that the top order does not accomplish. The top order, for the most part, went out pretty cheaply today, and Rawat and Dinesh Karthik stitched together an innings and brought RCB to a formidable total. In years past, that's where RCB struggled. When their top order would not hit, their innings would just fall apart right then and there. This time that didn't happen because their lower middle order settled down and they scored consistent runs at a healthy strike rate. If you are an RCB fan, that should be encouraging, because you're no longer solely reliant on your top 4 as most RCB teams have been since the inception of the IPL. Another positive thing is the fielding. RCB was very active, very consistent in the field. They were sure-handed when making catches, and they saved a lot of boundaries. And in a run chase, those small runs count. Those small runs can be the difference between you winning a match or losing a match. And I counted at least 7 or 8 boundaries that RCB saved throughout the match, and 2 or 3 of them came in the power play. So when those balls go for 1 run instead of 4, that changes the dynamic of a match, of a run chase. So that should also be a positive sign if you're an RCB fan. And now to conclude, the player of the match was Mustafizur Rahman for his 4-wicket haul. And rightfully so, because his bowling efforts in the power play and then him coming back at the 12th over changed the game for CSK. It took the game away from RCB, who first in the power play looked to establish a large total, perhaps in excess of 180, 190. And then when the ship was steadying for RCB and they could start thinking about launching again, Mustafizur comes in, takes 2 quick wickets, and RCB has to go into a sort of hibernative state of, okay, let's slow down, let's stem the bleeding, and then let's carry on. And so that sort of momentum shifts create huge implications in terms of a run chase in that you have to defend as a bowling unit, as a team. So all things considered, that is my breakdown of the first match of the IPL season this year. I will be doing this again tomorrow for the doubleheader between the first match being the Delhi Capitals versus the Punjab Kings, and the second match being the Kolkata Knight Riders versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. So if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, and until then, I am out. Thank you. Have a good one.